Hey, this is your girl Sada Star coming to you with another episode of A Day in the Life of the Alpha Woman, the official podcast of the Easy Breezy Life community. Before I jump into today's topic, if this is your first time joining us, we are a community of strong, urban women professionals trying to manage our faith, family, and life. Welcome to the circle and the fold of women who are just as fierce, focused, and fired up as you are. Hey, if you like anything that you hear this week, please make sure that you like, subscribe, and share it with a friend, because sharing is caring. But before I go into today's topic, we're going to take a break, and I'm going to share some ways that I try to maintain and sustain my easy, breezy life. Looking for a way to build a fashionable and trendy workwear wardrobe but can't seem to gather the coins? Then check out New York & Company's amazing subscription service, New York & Company Closet. Get access to hundreds of outfits that you can rotate on a monthly basis for an affordable monthly fee. Check out the link today in our episode notes to get access to your next fashionable wardrobe. Want to know how I save tons of money on a Caribbean vacation while earning cash back? It's easy. The answer is Rakuten. Sign up online today using the link in our episode notes so you can start saving and earning cash back on your favorite online stores. And we are back. All right. So I went into 2020 so serious about my health and wellness. And I have to say that so far, I think I'm doing an okay job. I think I'm doing an okay job of recognizing that I need to eat differently, that my sleep patterns have to change, that when I'm not feeling well, I need to take a day, and really trying to listen to my body when it tells me that it needs water, it needs exercise, it needs rest, in order for me to be able to run this race with grace. You know, I'm a God girl. So you know that on this podcast, I'm going to talk a lot about God, and divine health is something that I believe in. And also trying to be wise about what I put into this temple and being better about that in 2020 is a major priority for me, because your girl is in her mid-30s and them pounds don't be falling off like they used to, sis. And not only that, like you could be good for a month and then you fall off for like 2 weeks and it is like the weight just jumps onto your body. Am I the only one who feels like that? You cannot even look at a slice of bread without the weight just adding itself to your midsection. So I'm trying to get better and come to the realization that the years of eating Hungry Jack meals like I did in my 20s are gone. I am glad that when I was in my 20s, I ate whatever I wanted. By the way, I'm a Rutgers University alum in New Jersey. And so they used to have these sandwiches on campus called fat sandwiches, which was basically everything you could have in a burger or a combo meal put in one thing. And my favorite sandwich was a chicken fat cat. And I had chicken fat cats probably every day. And I don't regret it. I'm glad I did it when I could, when I had the metabolism and the speed to be able to lose weight in a month. But lo and behold, that season of my life is gone, and I have got to get it together with these eating habits. And so that's what I've been up to. I wonder what y'all have been up to. What is your resolution this year that you have been trying to work on? I mean, losing weight is always one of them. And chances are that it is the first week of February. And if you set a resolution, most people have stopped, right? So if you are still out here trying, even if you fell off the bandwagon, get back up, because that means that you are really dedicated to leveling up in whatever area of your wellness, whether it be your finances, your marriage, or your relationships, your personal life, any aspect of your life. I just want to encourage you to still get up, no matter how many times you fall off that wagon, like I am this year. So if you joined us last week, I spent some time talking about 20 things you could miss me with in 2020. And I said it was going to be a multi-part series. And in the first episode, we talked about 4 things that I was saying goodbye to this year. Number 1 was trying to get my way all the time and staying away from people who try to get their way all the time in my life. 2 was loveless, cheap sex because I was married now. And so don't be trying to come at me if you know you see the ring. The next thing was mental trash, being mindful of what I feed myself with my eyes and my ears. And then emotional garbage. This talks about anger, bitterness, unforgiveness, and really working in my life to say goodbye to those things and pull them up by the root. So today I'm going to talk about a few more things. And the first one I want to touch on is frenzied and joyless grabs for happiness. So one of the things we really struggle with on this side of the atmosphere or globe is being content with our lives as they are, imperfect, not like anyone else's. And, sometimes social media makes that very difficult for people. But one of the things that I've always generally been good about growing up and try to maintain is to be content with what I have and where I am now. I remember in the past getting roles and getting positions at work and constantly asking God to remove me and bring me somewhere else. And at one point, him just kind of feeling in my spirit, like, why would God give me another promotion if I had not stewarded and showed gratefulness and gratitude for the place that he'd put me in at that point in time? And so I have learned that the key really to my level up is contentment right where I am and gratitude right where I am. But the truth of the matter is we all have to start asking ourselves, where are we all running to? Right? What is it that we are trying to gain and get access to that we think is either going to validate us or cause others to validate us or make us finally feel complete? Right? So one of the things that I've observed is people needing to drive the fanciest cars, name brand clothes and all these things. And so when people meet me, they generally tend to think that I'm really into labels, but they rudely come to the awakening that, your girl likes a good deal. And the only thing I like better than a good deal is when something was full price as $200 and I can get it like $25. I will tell everyone how to get that deal. And that's really one of the reasons why I choose the ads that I choose to share on the podcast, because everybody needs to save a buck. You should be trying to save a buck, right? Or two. And one of my goals this year is to really save more. And I cannot save more if I am trying to have a frenzy grab for happiness and connect myself to every trend that's coming down the pipe. So as the song goes by TLC, don't go chasing waterfalls, because those waterfalls are not going to solve your issues. And they're going to leave us searching for the next high, trying to get that next high in our brain. So I think a good way to avoid having a frenzied and joyless grab for happiness is just practicing gratitude. Like sometimes I got to sit down and write down 10 things I love about my coworkers, 10 things I love about my life, 10 things I love about my husband, 10 things I love about myself and my son, so I could remember that I am blessed. And no, every day is not perfect. I don't do this 100% well every single day, but we thank God that his grace is sufficient. And morning by morning, new mercies I see. So if you didn't get it right yesterday, today's a new day. Say, Lord, forgive me for not being grateful yesterday, and give me the grace to show gratitude for exactly where you have placed me today. The next thing I'm going to talk about is magic show religion. So, okay, I'm going to say this is very specific and unique to me. I am not knocking whatever your personal faith, values, and beliefs are. I am just talking about me. So back in high school, I was obsessed with Cosmo magazine. Okay, let me backtrack. I was raised Muslim, became Christian when I was 16, and really didn't get serious about my spiritual life until I was about like 27, 28. But before that, in high school, Cosmo magazine was a magazine that I really, really liked reading because they had these horoscopes in the back. So I would always open up the horoscopes, go in there. Oh yeah, I'm a Cancer. And at the time I was a Cancer. And then all of a sudden, my zodiac changed. I'm like, okay, how is it that I was born a particular sign, but then I guess I don't know what happened in the atmosphere. Then all of a sudden I became another sign. So what they call it is like, right, in zodiac world is being on the cusp, Cancer, Leo. I don't know. Well, long story short, I would read the zodiac faithfully every single day. Wow. I heard about this study once that a college professor did where he gave every single person in the room a zodiac and said, like, this is your sign and this is what it means about you. And everyone was like, oh my goodness, this is so me. This is my life, so on and so forth. And then come to find out, he revealed to the class that he really gave everyone the same exact zodiac. And so he was questioning the validity and how accurate it was. And I'm not saying it's not accurate. If it's working for you, God bless you. But for me and my house, one of the things that we are saying no to in 2020 is reading the Bible, but then wearing an evil eye. Reading the Bible, but then listening to the zodiac every single day. Reading the Bible, but then going for someone to read my palms. Reading the Bible and praying, but then waiting for my tarot cards to be read. In 2020, we picking a team. Just Jesus. Okay? My team in 2020 is just Jesus because my Bible says that miracles, signs, and wonders should be following me, not the other way around. So yeah, you can miss me with that. And it really goes down to the scripture that says that God says, be hot or cold, don't be lukewarm. Because if you're lukewarm, I'm going to spit you out. Which says God would actually prefer for you to be a hot mess so that he knows just how much of a mess you are and how much he has to work with, than for you to be in today, out tomorrow, in today, out tomorrow. It's like, you know what? After a while, he's just going to leave you to yourself so you make up your mind regarding what side of the fence you want to be on. So for me, we're trying to be on fire for Jesus. So if you're following, you already know that it's going to be very rare to get into a conversation with me and I not bring up my faith because it's become so central to who I am due to my lived experiences. The next thing that I am saying goodbye to in 2020 is paranoid loneliness. And I don't want to say that I've ever really been a paranoid, lonely person. I think I've had seasons of solitude. But when you go through a storm and when you really, really go through a lot, there can be a tendency to retract from people, to not want to be hurt again. And so you become protective of your personal space and don't want to allow anyone else in it. And so that might look like, instead of going out and hanging out with your friends, you're kind of hiding at home in the living room, sitting on the couch, sitting in your bedroom saying like, nah, I'm good. And honestly, as someone who is an ambivert, I'll call myself an ambivert because I think I'm an introvert who has learned to be an extrovert by virtue of what I do for a living. I know what you're thinking. She talks so much, there's no way she could be an introvert. Well, actually, you are wrong. Because being an introvert just simply means that I get recharged by being alone by myself with my thoughts, and that being with others somehow takes something out of me. And so in order for me to live a balanced life, which is increasingly more challenging for me, I have to have alone time. I need seasons of rest and to be alone. At the same time, I don't want my need for rest to make me someone who's very paranoid, suspicious of everyone who comes around, thinking everyone is trying to cheat or lie or take something from me, and really believing that if I just have a relationship with Jesus, then I don't need anybody else in this world. Well, that's actually not true. God intended for us to live in community. He said, do not forsake the gathering of the saints. I'm not saying that you got to go to church every Sunday, but you need to be gathering with some saints who can pray with and for you at some point, just so you can feel encouraged, because we all need that community. And being alone just causes us to allow our thoughts to wander, and then people become our enemies when they really aren't, right? When really human beings are not our enemies. It's just kind of the spiritual forces and principalities and authorities that we all call bad vibes that are our enemy. The next thing you can miss me with is cutthroat competition. I'm so tired. I just be tired. So In college, I used to be in residence life, and I was an RA, then a hall director. And we used to always do these team builders where we go out on a ropes course, and you had to like try to cross a melting lava pool. And of course, it was imaginary, but they'd give you a task like, now cross across this river, and you got to do it as a team. And the point of doing these team builders was so that you could learn who was on the team and what their personalities were. So if you were a good leader, you started to observe how everyone else was moving, and you learned who was collaborative, and you learned who felt like they needed to be in charge, and you learned who was competitive. One of the things that I'm really over in 2020 is competitive frenemies. Like, I just don't have room. My life is too real to be friends with someone who's secretly looking over their shoulder at what's happening in my life and trying to compete with me. And, you know, I just believe that real friends cheer you on in the front and the back. They don't give you backhanded compliments. They don't say, oh, I didn't want to shade you, so on and so forth. So I'm just about protecting my space and finding a circle where people are happy being in their lane, no matter what that lane is, and that we're seeking to support and uplift and share resources with one another, as opposed to compete and steal and be sneaky about how we get resources from one another. So when somebody gives me that vibe, and, you know, I try to balance it out and not incriminate everyone, but when somebody gives me that vibe, I am outie 1000. No, thank you. The next thing is all consuming yet never satisfied wants, right? So this kind of goes back to having an attitude of gratitude. It's not wrong to want growth. It's not wrong to want progress. It's not wrong to want success. But there is a problem with chasing things that God did not tell you to chase. There is a problem with becoming a clout chaser, with associating with people only because they look important, they look like they're moving in life. That's problematic for me. So my philosophy is always, you know, if we share the same values, regardless of where your position is in life at the time, you're my kind of person. So some of the best friends, the best resources I've ever made are people who were down and out, but I felt connected to them emotionally. I felt connected to them value-wise and mentally. And in one season, I may have been supporting them, but then in other seasons, they became my biggest allies and ended up supporting me. And so at this point, I just try to make sure that I am assigning value to who people are by their character, not by their Instagram photos, not by the kind of car they drive, not by the neighborhood or the house they live in, or how much money they seem to have and prestige. I can't do it. And then the other thing is, I'm the daughter of the king. So that means that I am the clout. I don't chase clout, okay? And you should be thinking that way about yourself, that God's got a special plan and purpose for you. Whether you got 1 talent or 5 talents, you should be believing that you are special. Not full of yourself, but special, uniquely designed for such a time as this. And then the last one I want to hit on this actual episode is a brutal temper. I thank God. I thank God that He has changed me from who I was, let's say 10 years ago. 'Cause girl, I knew how to light up a situation. And I had to acknowledge at some point that this was a family pattern, that when somebody pissed us off or somebody crossed the line, we would be out here flipping and shaking the table and nobody could stop us, and we would have no remorse for what the aftermath was. And this past year, God really, truly challenged me to stop responding or allowing a brutal temper to be part of my personhood and personality. We're working on it. Sometimes I'm just restraining myself, right? And it feels fake. But a good friend of mine told me that that's actually self-control. That's actually what the Bible tells us to do, which is to be angry and sin not. But also not to get worked up over every little thing that people do, right? And so that's also part of my rest and wellness. The more I rest, the less offended I get. Because I'm just like, life is good. What could possibly go wrong today? So yeah. So those are the 5 things that we're talking about. Magic show religion, paranoid loneliness, cutthroat competition, all-consuming yet never satisfied wants, and a brutal temper. And if you are wondering where I got this from, it is from the book of Galatians, chapter 5, verses 19 to 21. I highly encourage you read that particular scripture in every possible version you can, because I'm sure that at some point, the Holy Spirit is going to convict you about a part or an area of your life that you really need to start working on, right? Because we all have things that we're working on. And just because my area of weakness might not be competition doesn't mean that having a brutal temper is okay. So easy breezy life, working on the things that make us less like Christ, becoming more like him every day, and allowing his spirits to lead us into the way of peace. That is all for this week. I hope that you go out there, kick the butt. Oh, by the way, if you're in the New Jersey area and you'd like to meet me in person, I will be speaking at the Daughter of a King conference with Legacy Church New Jersey in South Amboy, New Jersey from February 22nd to February 23rd. You can go to my website, www.easybreezy.life, and there will be a link on there for you to register for the conference. I would love to meet you in person. Conference tickets are $55. But I'm telling you, I went to this conference last year. I hosted last year. This year, I'll be keynoting on one of the nights. And it was just such a wonderful, non-judgmental place to praise the Lord. Honestly, we were having fun. There were door prizes. There were giveaways. It was beautifully decorated. It's like, this is how daughters of the King should be spending their night with one another. And I just know that this second year is going to blow my mind. I'm so excited to be a part of it. And the pastors who are leading it, Pastors Jesus and Maggie Hernandez, are amazing human beings. And I actually had the privilege of serving under them when I attended Faith Fellowship Ministries before I got married. So I want to see you. I want to meet you. And if you would like to have a wonderful weekend surrounded by faith-filled women who just want to love on each other, I highly recommend you go to www.legacychurchnj.com and get a ticket right now. Okay? I love you. Go out there, kick some butt. We'll see you next week. Kick some butt and love on people. Love Jesus, love on people. Have a wonderful